Thanks so much for tuning into the NBA here on 2K Sports. It's the NBA served to you week.
A quick check now at the starting five for both teams. First for the Clippers, CP3 at point with Redick there, the backcourt. And inside at center, a long 6'11", the skyscraping big man out of Texas A&M, DeAndre Jordan. Then there's Jared Dudley, and it's Griffin in at the 4 spot. And then for the Houston Rockets, manning the backcourt, Jeremy Lin along with James Harden. And at center, the most dominant physical presence in the NBA, the elite defensive big man, Dwight Howard. Then there's Chandler Parsons, and it's Ashik in at the 4 slot.
The difference between being a dominant or a good team and mediocrity is the ability to win on the road. The Clippers secured their spot as one of the NBA's elite teams last season because they showed the ability to get it done on the road.
A nice shot by Lin. On defense, Houston. Let's find out what Doris Burke has for us.
Yes, a bit ago, Kevin McHale and I were able to catch up. We talked about the difficulties of facing a player like Chris Paul, and he said that what makes Paul so incredible is his court vision. He explained that there haven't been many players like Paul who can pick a defense apart with both his passing ability and his patience in the offensive sets, saying really, he can just wait you out until he sees a weakness, and that's where he attacks.
And thank you for that, Doris. That's good. And the Clippers with one of the better road records in the Western Conference last year, going 24-17. Steve actually tied for the second most road wins in the West, only behind the Thunder.
And believe it or not, Kevin, it's the first time the Clippers franchise has ever had a winning record. On the road. Actually, I do believe that when you think back to Clipper history. But I'll tell you what, it's a team on the rise, a very interesting club to watch.
And stolen by Jordan. And they're moving it up. Paul dishes to Dudley. Good, and Paul gets the assist.
What a sweet assist by CP3.
For Houston, they've gone 2 of 3 here to start out the game. Harden gets a screen from Howard. Parsons for 3. Can't hit, and it's the Clippers taking it the other way. Clark, their offense has been great here.
Yeah, I love the way they've looked. Really strong and together.
Yeah, and very aggressive, too. Keeping the defense off balance with their ball movement. I like the way they look.
And the shot is good.
And they're on fire. They've made 4 straight shots to get this thing going.
Guys, we've talked about Chris Paul and his leadership. It's on display off the court as well. He's a member of the Players Union Executive Committee. And after the scathing independent review of the union's leadership, he and his colleagues voted for a change. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
And the offense just getting right to the rim, but at least they saved the layup with the foul.
That's old school basketball rules. I mean, at the end of the day, no easy layup. Earn it from the line.
You know, Steve, as we kind of shift gears and look beyond just the game itself, Chris Paul and the Players Union, perhaps now, some closer oversight of how their interests are being handled. I think now they want to tighten the screws a little bit.
Well, they should. That's a good thing, Kevin. The players should know about the business of basketball. They should understand their finances as a union. At the end of the day, it is a business, and you have to have the best representation of people who are going to have your interest in heart.
And there's the foul. It'll go on Jared Dudley. That's his first foul.
I like the call. I thought the defense was moving there.
Yeah, I think he slid underneath. Good blocking call that trip.
Not watching the line there. That'll be a backcourt violation. And it's Paul penetrating. That one goes. Count it. Paul's got 11 points.
Boy, I tell you what, nice little run here they're going on.
Now the story is points in the paint, Clark. I mean, they're getting point-blank shots every time down.
Kicks it out to Harden. Here's Ashik, and the bank shot is good.
That rebound and the follow kind of typify what he's all about. Just gritty, determined play.
Griffin goes in. He kicks to Redick. Passes it to Jordan. Working on Howard. Lets it go from 11. And it's the Clippers scoring again.
And the story of this game in the early stages is just how well they've been shooting the ball.
Steve, their percentage from the floor is really impressive up to this point. You know, the Rockets turned a lot of heads last season, guys, as they got back into the playoffs after missing out the year before. A big part of that was how they played at home. They were very tough to beat in Houston.
Easy call there.
No question about that one. You could hear the impact from where I am.
And the Rockets, as you said, Clark, strong at home, and that can be seen in that record of 29-12. Just the kind of home record, Steve, you need to get into the playoffs.
And it was the way the Rockets played that was so impressive, Kevin. They attacked the rim, and then they kick out and bomb a ton of threes. And I think that's the kind of attack, the kind of style that can really bring a friendly crowd and bring them to their feet. And I thought the Houston fans got more and more animated as the season went on.
Crawford's shot is good.
What a start they've gotten off to. A big lead for them, and we're not even out of the first quarter yet.
And it's not just their hot offense here. I mean, they're playing very strong defense too, guys.
Clippers leading by 9. Collison with it. Now guarded by Beverly. And that one's good. Barnes.
Defensively. This team is just giving up way too many open looks.
You're exactly right. And to battle back, they've got to shore that defense up, Steve.
So it's the Clippers now. Now 8 seconds separating the two clocks. Goes up with a strike. Nice D from Manius. Houston's gone 0-3 from three-point land. Nothing yet going outside. And Beverly kicks to Garcia. Out of bounds, the Clippers take possession. Here's Collison. He hasn't yet put up any points in this one. Now the feed to Dudley. Lets it go with the 3. That ball's great assist by Darren Collison.
It has taken them no time to build this lead up on the strength of a great first quarter offensively.
And they need to continue to put pressure on the defense and try to really run away with this one from here.
And an overpowering first quarter effort. Already a double-digit advantage. Los Angeles on top. They lead by 13. The second quarter coming up right after this break. Welcome back, folks. Thank you for tuning in to the NBA on 2K Sports as we get set to get going once again. Hey, during the break, players getting a chance to refuel and hydrate with some Gatorade as there is more basketball in store. Hey, guys, what do you think about the offensive approach we've seen so far for the Clippers?
They didn't waste any time getting into a groove out there. They're dialed in from long range.
So another factor in their offense so far has been their ability to convert and score off turnovers.
And Los Angeles with some changes. Blake Griffin, he's checked in for Dudley. And it's Paul in for Darren Collison. And keeping us updated from the sideline, let's swing it over to Doris Burke for an update. Hi, Doris.
Well, guys, for Dwight Howard, a perfect fit with head coach Kevin McHale. So often, head coaches are former point guards, but in McHale, a Hall of Fame power forward. Howard has a coach he can quite literally see eye to eye with. And McHale is one of the all-time great post-up scorers. And for Dwight Howard, he said that was the biggest reason for his decision to come to Houston, saying, quote, "I felt he could really help me develop in the post." Guys, back to you.
You don't see many great back-to-the-basket big men these days. He's one of the best, certainly.
Boy, I love it. Active hands on the steal, active feet on the fast break.
And Clark power on the dunk.
Guys, this is just too close of a game to be giving the ball up like that and then failing to get back in transition. Boy, that was impressive. Major height disadvantage, but he still got the shot up over his man.
Well, he's got the poise to handle any matchup, and he's not easily intimidated. You can see that there. Last year, Blake's stats were down, but I thought his impact on the floor was about the same. With that said, in order for him to really take the next step, he's got to be able to knock down the perimeter shot with consistency.
Well, he's one player who can get hot in a big hurry. It's like he has an on-off switch, and once it gets flipped on, he's tough to stop.
And something else you notice about him offensively is what a dangerous catch-and-shoot player he is. You He's got a quick trip.
Houston with a big group substitution here. And here in the second with about a minute and a half gone by. Of course, Blake Griffin played a career low in minutes last season. The team looking to save him for the postseason.
And then, ironically enough, he ends up with a badly sprained ankle during that series with Memphis. So things just didn't go quite well for the Clippers or for Griffin in the playoffs. But they had a great regular season, best record in franchise history.
Los Angeles leading by 15, and it's Paul penetrating. Good. Paul's got 6 points in the quarter.
What an excellent performance from the field for him.
The Rockets have gone 3 of their first 5 shots to drop here in the second quarter. Lynn the pass to Parsons. Leads him in there. A Sheik. And Griffin sends it back. Mullins dishes the ball. Laid in with a nice touch off the glass. Paul's got 19 points.
And fellas, in this quarter, he's improved on what was already a very good performance in period number 1. You know, for so long, the Clippers were on the bottom rung of the ladder in the West, almost were a joke in the conference, but their fortunes have changed dramatically in the past few years, and now they're a team that's respected and feared.
Pass to Mullins. That's good. Mullins got his first points in this one.
Wow, what an incredible run they're on. This is as good an offense as you will see.
Well, every single guy on the floor right now just feeling it.
Lynn kicks to Ashik, and down it goes, jamming that one home.
Well, that shot was made possible by the work Dwight Howard did.
Well, Clark, you said the Clippers have really flipped the Western Conference upside down over the last few years, and you're right, they have done it with, you know, Steve Style, to say the least. You know, they've got now also a very deep team.
Well, a 35-17 record against the West was enough to secure them their division and advantage in the first round. You have to remember, too, that they were without some of their big stars last season, so if they can stay healthy and really take advantage of what they have, this could be a lot of fun.
Paul for 3. Shot is off. And it's Houston the other way.
He hit a 3 in the first, but so far has been unable to capitalize here in this quarter. You know, Jeremy Lin made a lot of strides last season on the court, guys, but I think in order for him to take his game to the next level, he's got to be a bigger and more consistent threat from outside. If he can home in on that 3 ball, I think he'll be much more difficult to defend.
Catching up on the changes for the Clippers. DeAndre Jordan's checked in for Byron Mullins, and J.J. Redick is subbed in for Chris Paul. From the sideline, let's catch up with Doris Burke.
Hey, guys. Well, even though Blake Griffin is playing in the bright lights of Los Angeles, he seems to keep a relatively level head. Sure, he's rubbed a few guys in the league the wrong way, but he says, quote, for every 50 people out there that love you, there are going to be 50 people out there that hate you and say you aren't good. For me, it's not listening to either one. If anything, I listen to the negative more than the positive. Kevin, not bad advice.
Certainly a player to root for. Thanks, Doris. And out of bounds as Los Angeles gains possession. And for Jeremy Lin, his 3-point stroke did improve as last season wore on.
Well, once he got his legs under him, he was shooting over 40% from long range. And that's key when you're playing alongside a guy like James Harden, who's so good with the ball in his hands.
You know what, guys? He can really light it up from the perimeter at times.
Back to Garcia. It's hauled in by Jamal Crawford.
Solid rebound there, and with the score like it is, that's an area they just can't afford to get lazy with.
You know, I think the effort's been there, Steve, but they're still getting outworked just by a skosh.
Garcia goes in. Back to Lin. Howard, the pass to Lin. And he knocks down the jumper. Lin's got 6.
Well, I doubt that was the plan there on that trip, guys, but they did get the shot to go. I don't know who was supposed to be on him there, but clearly a mistake by the defense.
He got it up. No luck. So as we conclude the first half, so far fairly one-sided.
And now, brought to you by Sprint.
Saturday, the best day of the week. Let's make it even a little bit better with a halftime show. Los Angeles in front against Houston. They're scoring effortlessly. The defense has been completely overmatched. We've seen CP3 tearing it up effortlessly against the Rockets. What he's been able to do from the field has been nothing short of spectacular. Only a select few players in the league can shoot the ball like that. For the Rockets, they haven't had the same luck. Their outside scoring is letting them down so far, and without that threat from outside, their offense is bogging down, unable to spread the floor. Jeremy Lin has the team high in scoring. He's got 6 points and some nice plays offensively, getting the assists going. And that's all there is to it. Thanks so much for spending halftime with me. Now it's time to send you back out for the start of the third quarter.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
And as we begin the second half, first half wasn't even close, guys, and we'll see if there is a comeback on our hands or more of the same as we get the third quarter started.
Paul's been great. 19 points, and he's put one three-pointer on the board.
Going forward, I think it'd be a good idea to let him spend a little more time behind the arc. He looks like he has a nice touch from out there.
Houston might have made the playoffs in the West last season, guys, but it wasn't because they were beating up on their peers. They were 24 and 28 against the rest of the West. That's why they got the 8th seed.
Howard, that's good. Howard's got the first points of the third quarter up on the board for Houston.
And their solid play in the paint continues, guys.
Well, that's been the focus, Clark, as we've watched. I mean, they've created one chance after another inside.
Offensive rebound, and he banks in the layup. Howard's got 6.
Boy, he crashed the boards with purpose right there. Well-deserved second chance points for him.
Paul dishes to Reddick. Back to Paul. Second half rolling along now. About a minute played here. Great D that time from Howard. You remember the Rockets last year when they were playing a lot of teams in the West near the end of the regular season. That was when they slipped, Steve, out of the 6th seed range down to number 8.
Well, of course, the West was really strong last year, Kevin, so it makes sense that you're going to struggle a little bit against all those good teams. But Houston ended up being the only team in the West to make the playoffs with a sub-500 record against the rest of the conference.
Boy, I like the way he carved out just enough space to get his hands on the missed shot and then rattle the rim on the putback.
And the gap narrow.
They're closing it fast.
Well, that's the effort of a team ready to fight back into this game.
Clippers leading by 12. And stolen by Parsons. And here we go. And the jam by Harden.
Well, when they desperately needed to get things turned around, they were able to do it and claw their way back in.
And they fed off their defense just as much as their offense in putting this run together.
Los Angeles has gone 4-6 from outside the arc tonight.
Guys, it didn't take long for Harden to show that he could carry a team. The first game of last season, he made a statement in his first game as a Rocket, putting up a monster stat line.
And they've missed the first 3 shots of the third quarter.
And Chris Paul picks up the foul. That's his first foul. Smith checked in for the Rockets. 2 minutes into the second half of play now. Lin kicks to Harden. Back to Lin. The 3. But they get it back. Back to Harden. Launches a 3. No luck.
It's been a real difficult game for him offensively, and it's cost him.
He feeds it to Paul. And it's good. Assisting on the play was Jordan. And that's 21 points for Chris Paul. And Harden and Clark, you just talked about this, wasting no time last season announcing his arrival as a franchise player. Opening night, 37 points. 45 points in the second game of the season. Steve, what a start he had in Houston.
And how about the stretch, Kevin, in the middle of the year where he scored 25 or more points in 14 straight games. That was an all-time Rockets record. So Harden getting his opportunity to be a star. He's making the most of it.
Byron Mullins is checked in for the Clippers. Collison comes in for Chris Paul. Harden can't hit.
And this has not been a quarter for him to remember.
Yeah, it sure hasn't, Steve. I mean, he's been doing his invisible man impersonation here, hasn't he?
Great defense there. You really have to challenge him at that range.
Boy, you look at the Clippers, and they clearly are one of the most entertaining teams in the NBA. One of the outstanding team shows you'll see. They have fun, they're up and down. But they're a hard-working group, and a lot of that you have to attribute to their leader, Chris Paul.
Houston making a switch here. Lynn's checked in. Reddick with the bucket.
I think he's best as a spot-up shooter. When he can play off of his teammates and find openings on the perimeter, just catch and shoot. Got a quick release. Beautiful stroke.
He does such a nice job of getting himself squared up and in perfect position before the ball gets there, preparing before the pass.
Another miss by Harden. Well, Clark, as you were taking a look at the Clippers, they are a fun team, an amazing product so far with big names all around. But, you know, Steve, they've got to work hand in hand to make sure they're always at their best and not take things for granted.
Well, I think it's still a team that's a work in progress. You've got some young front line in Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. Great point guard in Paul, but the new additions have helped, and I think it'll be interesting to see if this team can gel during the playoffs.
Here's Collison. Rockets with the rebound.
That's not a sight you see very often. I mean, he has a great feel for that jump shot, especially when he's open.
Harden the pass to Lynn. Now the dish to Beverly. Kicks it to Harden. Another miss by Harden.
Early on, he tried to shoot his way out of this funk, but later in the game now, he might want to just give it up and look for his teammates to do the scoring.
Houston shooting their 6th and 7th free throw attempts tonight.
Well, they were 75% free throw shooting a season ago.
You know, the Rockets did a lot to make over their backcourt last season as they brought in two big names in Jeremy Lin and James Harden, and that's not always an easy adjustment. Took a little time for both of those guys to figure out how to coexist in the pick-and-roll offense.
Here's what the Clippers are going with right now. Barnes comes in for Blake Griffin, and it's Crawford in for J.J. Redick. No good from Beverly. Clippers leading by 12. Left side, Collison. And fouled hard that time. He'll get to the line and shoot 2. The Clippers shooting their 3rd and 4th free throw attempts of the game. The first one falls. Houston making a switch here. Collison hits them both.
You know, he's as close to a sure thing as you can possibly have when he steps to the line.
9 seconds left in the 3rd.
I like the call. I thought the defense was moving there. Yeah, I think he slid underneath. Good blocking call that trip.
The Rockets have converted 4 of 7 free throws on the night. And the Clippers making a change here. Both free throws good from Lynn. Fires the 3. Yeah, wow, he nails the buzzer beater.
That really could be a morale-crushing three-pointer, fellas. What a way to head into the 4th quarter.
And as we end the 3rd quarter, a double-digit deficit will make it tough to come back. And we welcome you back as we get going here in the 4th quarter. The final quarter of play can change everything. And a look at how the offensive approach has been going here so far for the Clippers.
Well, the great passing we saw in the first half has carried right over into the second.
Boy, it's been a super performance from beyond the arc, too. I mean, they've been raining in those threes.
Crawford, soft touch off the glass.
They are not rotating nearly quickly enough on defense down low. Got to get quicker there.
And even if it costs them some foul trouble, I mean, they need to start putting some bodies on bodies, be physical.
Well, the Rockets front office very influenced by advanced stats or sabermetrics, if you will. They revealed one thing that they think the league undervalues, and that's attack guards, ones who put pressure on the defense off the dribble. That's one more reason they pursued the slashing Jeremy Lin so strongly.
Houston making a switch here. Beverly's checked in. Here's Crawford. That's good. Crawford's got 4 points in the quarter.
He shot the ball exceptionally well as they've built this lead for themselves here.
Harden outside. Parsons on the wing. Gets the three-pointer to fall. Back to Jeremy Lin, a great penetrator, very active. Gets to the line. He's about as surprising a guy, Steve, as I can recall getting in the league and having putting a thumbprint on things.
Well, much more athletic than people give him credit for. Very explosive. He can get into the paint and a really quick first step.
Terrific job that time defending at the rim. I mean, it's not an easy task stopping that fella when he's headed to the bucket like that. Good job.
Redick with the bucket.
That's the 3rd bucket in a row from the paint. This defense needs to clog those lanes in the middle much more effectively.
Yeah, and until they do, the problems inside are only going to get worse.
Timeout called the Rockets.
Well, you know, Matt Barnes back in high school was an All-American wide receiver. He led the nation in touchdown catches his senior season.
Los Angeles making a switch here. Jordan's checked in. Let's go quickly over to Doris Burke for an update.
Guys, over that last break, I listened to Kevin McHale address his team. He let his players know that they've got to do a better job on defense. He said, they're scoring any way they want. We've got to show some pride here. Let's make a stand defensively, get us stops, and get on a run of our own. Do they have it in them, Kevin?
Parsons attacking. There's the pass to Beverly. Harden. Another miss by Houston. And for Matt Barnes, you can see some of that football influence in his style of play.
He's one of the highest recruited wide receivers coming out of high school before he went and played basketball at UCLA. But, yeah, he really knows how to go and get that ball, whether it's a loose ball or an offensive rebound. And he's a good backdoor cutter as well.
You're right. He usually played high school ball in Sacramento, and he had a lot of college coaches wanting him to come play on fall Saturdays.
This quarter has not been his best. The defense may be starting to affect him a little bit.
And he lays it straight in.
These defenders are not putting up much of a fight on the interior. It's been embarrassing. That's 10 consecutive points allowed in the lane.
And that's not the kind of streak you want to have if you're playing defense.
Harden draws the double. Smith. The Clippers grab the miss. Jordan's got 4 rebounds in this game. Back to Paul. Pulls it from the elbow. The shot is off. Good work defensively by Smith. They need a good offensive possession.
Yeah, they've had a number of empty ones, a long time without a basket.
They got to find something. You're right.
You know, there's no fear out of him, guys. I mean, going straight to the hoop against a much bigger defender, he's got a lot of heart.
And the Clippers call time here.
Hey, I think we all knew that the Clippers were good last year, but we really took notice when they rattled off those 17 wins in a row in December. That was a franchise record, which had previously been 11, and that's when the league really took notice.
Catching up on the changes for Los Angeles. Hollins is checked in, and it's Byron Mullins in for Matt Barnes. 1:56 left in the fourth quarter of this one. Harden dishes to Lynn. Oh, and there's the alley-oop. And Howard with the stuff.
That's the epitome of teamwork right there, Kevin, on the alley-oop.
Clark, what about the finish? Bringing it down with some thunder.
Yeah, lightning, too.
But I'll tell you, the pass was even better. I mean, he put it on an absolute platter for him.
Well, it was the year of the win streak last season with Miami doing what they did and Denver getting hot as well. But you know, Steve, the Clippers had the first lengthy win streak and turned some heads earlier in the season.
Yeah, what was that, about 17 games in a row they won? And I thought that kind of established the Clippers in the West, put a little fear in the rest of the conference, and gave L.A. a swagger that I thought helped them get through the rest of the season.
Clippers leading by 14. And it's Paul penetrating. And that one's good. Paul's got 27 points.
And every point they get now puts them one step closer to the W.
If they're not there already, Steve, just a tremendous all-around game of basketball they played.
Lobs it up. That's blocked. Bullock passes to Hollins. Fade away. It's rebounded by Houston.
You know, that's a problem he has. I mean, not being able to knock down that open jumper. I think it happens far too often.
And so he draws the foul on the shot. A trip to the line to shoot 2.
Well, Parsons was really a surprise coming out of Florida. Had a big impact his rookie season with Houston. Very reliable in a lot of areas. Can handle the ball, can knock down a long-range shot, and a better defender than you think as well.
That is what makes Parsons such an easy guy to send down to the floor. You know exactly what he's going to give you on offense and is very consistent. Catching up on the changes for Houston. Monty Eunice is checked in for Usher, and it's Garcia in for James Harden. Matt Barnes is checked in for Los Angeles.
Well, it certainly had the makings of a great story. Harden versus his old team, the Rockets coming back with a big Game 5 win. If they could get Game 6, they'd be able to force that final 7th game and maybe pull off the upset, but it wasn't meant to be.
And the Rockets making a change here. Beverly's checked in. Well, going back to the Rockets in the postseason, a lot of people had them picked to get steamrolled. But, Steve, they put up a solid fight and really turned some heads with how they played.
Well, the easy answer was because of the Westbrook injuries. That's how Houston was able to really take Oklahoma City deep into that series. But I think there's more to it than that. The Rockets have tremendous offensive firepower. I think they're gaining momentum as a franchise. And heading into this year, I think they're one of the scariest teams in the conference.
Lynn kicks to Beverly. And Paul pulls it down.
He got the shot he wanted off that pick, just couldn't get it to fall.
But, Steve, they'll take that play all day long, 10 times out of 10. That was good action.
Smith, he's guarded by Dudley. And the layup's good off the glass.
You know, they'll want to generate more of those shots in tight, guys.
Paul passes to Bullock. Gives him the lead pass. Now here's Paul. True on the 14-footer.
And the crowd here, of course, not happy about the outcome. But you know what? We saw a team tonight that came in prepared to do battle on the road, and they clearly wanted to win.
You know, they were determined.